Mark Prater is tracking the path of that storm. And Mark, you're getting more data as time goes by.
Yeah, and it's really not a very consistent pattern. And with the National Hurricane Center's track, which we often look at and try to at least go along the guidelines with, I think that we've really got a mess of a storm. And I'll explain more of that in just a moment. Let's start off with what we've got going on right now, though. You'll see outside it is partly cloudy to mostly clear. How about that? Looks great over downtown Birmingham. A lot of high school football kicking off here in just a bit. Winds out of the east at 7, dew point at 70. So that means the atmosphere is holding more water, and it feels like 92. So make sure everybody's hydrated. That includes band members, even you as fans. You don't want to overheat early on in the game, especially as we have kickoff with plenty of sun out there. As we go through the evening, though, the high school football forecast calls for temperatures into the upper 70s, eventually into the low and mid 70s by the end of the game. Here is a look at the storm track radar. We've got new showers just popping up in the past couple of minutes. Most of these have been through Chilton County, and they're raining themselves out quickly, but a little bit of lightning with them. So for any games south of Shelby County, keep that in mind. There's a little bit of lightning, and that's something to certainly be very cautious of. But some of the tracks have it move, new shower moving into Clanton in about 13 minutes, Jemison in about 31 minutes, and one shower just popped up as I walked over here near Vincent on the last scan. Here is the latest on Erica. Now, Erica is still a tropical storm. Winds at 50 miles per hour. It's moving due west at 21 miles per hour. That's a quick moving system. And as it continues to move towards the west, it will get away from some of the larger mountains and the islands and eventually track towards the west-northwest. Here's where the problems begin, though. You can see our forecast model data that we really rely on is now becoming so diverged and no consistency whatsoever with these models. We have to really start to look at more of a synoptic approach and what's happening north of the storm. Now, keep in mind, this is what the models are indicating, and some, actually several now, are keeping it south of Cuba, which would put it into the Gulf of Mexico. That being said, the National Hurricane Center is sticking with this particular set of models, which will take it through Florida. There are a number of ingredients that have to be in place for a hurricane to develop or even a tropical storm to continue. A lot of those ingredients just aren't in place right now. That means low shear and winds not very strong up high in the atmosphere. Plus, it needs warm water. So there will be water to work with, but the storm track from the National Hurricane Center has it continuing to track towards the northwest and eventually make landfall near Tampa, St. Petersburg as a minimal tropical storm. I think that's a possibility, certainly not out of the question, and then it becomes just a tropical depression by Tuesday night into Wednesday in North Florida. But this high pressure out to the east, that is becoming a factor more and more, and that's something I discussed last night. This area is pushing that track a little further towards the west. I, along with the rest of the storm track weather team, feel this will be in the Gulf of Mexico, but how strong is going to be something we'll have to monitor and certainly track for you. Storm track futurecast through the rest of this evening into tonight. You'll see that there's not a whole lot going on, but then once we get into tomorrow, the chance of showers and thunder showers becomes a little more widespread. Notice by late in the afternoon, you'll see that the green and areas of yellow starting to pop up, a little more coverage. So it's not out of the question you have a thunder shower or two tomorrow and a better chance on Sunday. And I dry us out for the first of next week with highs into the lower 90s and another chance at an afternoon shower by the middle of next week.